Hello, friends. How are we?
Hello.
Hello.
Alive. That's all I got
Yes,
for you.
alive
I'm
is
alive.
a pretty good statement here.
I am alive.
I know
Alive.
most people who have been around my channel any sort of time are familiar with all of you because I talk about you all incessantly. So why don't y'all just quickly run around, quickly tell people who you are, and then we'll get into talking about the readathon and whatnot.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Izzy, or Isabel, whatever you want to call me. I don't know. I don't care. I'm over at Happy for Now, talking about romance, manga, all the things. Listen, you'll get the vlog on Wednesday, where I read, too much. So much.
You did read a lot.
I stole everyone's reading abilities this readathon.
I still read quite a bit, so we'll talk about that soon. Anyways, Steph, your turn.
I'm Steph from the Novelty Corner. I also read romance amongst many other things, and I did read a lot this week, but I was on holidays, so I had plenty of time to do that.
Yes, you did.
Hi, I'm Heather from Hia Booktubes. I also read a lot this week. And I don't know what you want from me. That's a good preview of my channel, so
I don't know what you want from me, line.
Yeah, that feels right for Heather.
Can you please introduce your videos like that from now on?
Oh my!
I don't know what you want from me.
That's gonna put Friends and Enemies for a run for its money.
I think the ones who stay will probably stay anyways, but you never know. Every once in a while, I say something and I get comments. I am leaving right now, and I'm just like, all right, well, honestly confused. How long were you here for? Because it could not have been that long.
Yeah, I don't feel like I don't get a ton of those very often. Romance Lady brings them, but that's about it.
It's always random videos. Good job.
All right. Well, since we're talking about it, how did the readathon go for you? That's what we're going to talk about here for a minute. Izzy, you go first.
I read 9 books, and I read 7 volumes of manga. So that's how the readathon went. It went really well. I thought I wanted vampires. Apparently, I only wanted vampire manga and werewolf books. So that's what I read. I've been on my head that I want to read vampire books, and then I didn't read a single vampire book. So,
as I say, I don't think I technically read any vampire books either. I think the only vampires I did was manga.
Yeah, the only vampires I did was manga, which was really weird. But here we are. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I stayed up too late, multiple nights in a row, just finishing a book until 3, 4 in the morning. I don't know. Paranormal apparently unleashed my reading again, which I felt like has been off all year. So we'll take it.
Definitely take it.
And then I also finished another book, which was a hockey book, which technically doesn't count. So I guess I technically read 10 books this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know how we got here, but we're here. Steph, how was your reading?
I read 11 books and 1 manga, plus the hockey book, which also I'm not counting in those numbers. And I did not set out to read vampire books, and just about every book that I had vampires in it.
So you took all the vampire book energy from us.
I'm not saying that they're the best vampire books or that vampires were central to all of the stories, but there were plenty of vampires.
But now I know where the vampires went. They went to Australia. They said, bye. We're getting out of here.
Getting out of Dodge.
Yeah, don't blame them.
Yeah. I had 3 DNFs, 9 read, and 1 that I'm still in the middle of. But I'm probably either going to, it's a pause for now, most likely. It's book 6 in that series. At this point, I am just sick to death of everybody constantly, about to have their life ruined by someone else because family and stuff. And also, there's still no couple.
Rude.
So, I mean, I know who the couple is.
It's book 6 and there's no couple. I'm glad to know that now.
They have a reason. They kissed in the last book, so we had one good little makeout section, and that was it. telling me. Hence why I'm asking for high steam recommendations on Instagram.
Fair.
But it's not even that bad. It's very readable. I don't know that it's like the best series to read in order like that, but that's what I did. So here we are.
Hi, Robin. How did the readathon
Hello.
go for you?
Oh, it was a total fail. I read. I just did not read
Paranormal,
paranormal romance.
which is fair.
Sometimes it works for you.
Life
Sometimes
be
it's not.
lifing sometimes, and sometimes the paranormal doesn't speak to you. It's fine.
It didn't happen. I did read Age of Deception, which was awesome. So
Right. And I'm dying not continuing ahead right now.
I
But
know.
like I think what I'm gonna do before the live show is I'm just gonna re-listen to the first two
there you go.
just so I can kind of scratch the itch for a second because like I'm
Yeah.
dying.
And then I read Platypussy by Evie Mitchell. And then we were joking about it because she was like, please tell me you DNF to this book. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, and then I marked it on Storygraph or Buzzwordathon, so you're welcome.
I love that. Buzzwordathon. That's fantastic.
Because
It
most
was
of
in
the
my
people who read
Buzzwordathon
for Buzzwordathon would never go near Platypus.
She was like, oh my.
Some people.
So I read that. And then I read 1.5 fantasy books. And I was joking. I was like, I wish I had DNF'd the fantasy book because it wasn't good.
There you go.
So,
So for me, I ended up reading 22 things total. So 17 volumes of manga and 5 books.
Well done.
So
you
yeah.
guys are awesome.
Well, the 17 volumes of manga, I blame more on my compulsive need to read for 30 and 30 right now. So I think that's how that happened. So what's your favorite read from the readathon? Ready, go. Izzy first.
I'm looking at my list. I was like, oh, I was not ready. Honestly, it's probably a tie between Fated to the Wolf Prince and A Curse of Fate.
Okay.
I really liked both of them. They're both one is A Curse of Fate is a wide shoe shifter book where she's on the run and gets caught, and like omegas are highly valued, of course. And then Fated to the Wolf Prince is a world where omegas have been eliminated and she's a Psy, but secretly she's Omega. And that one, those are the two that kept me up all night. So
There you go.
I feel like those have to be the two highlights.
Yes.
All right, Steph, which one was your favorite?
I mean, if we're purely going on ratings, then it was a reread because I re-listened to Magic Binds for like the 3rd time this year in the readathon. But if it's a new to me book, then probably A Time to Rise by Tal Bauer, just because the plot is bonkers.
Oh, I love Tal
So,
Bauer.
in my head, I went, it's the Tal Bauer book. I was like, I could have answered for Steph.
Look, I contemplated the Elise Hay series that I was reading, but I think that's going to be a really hard series to rec to people. But A Time to Rise is just bonkers. Like the whole premise of it is nuts. So I'm like, I'll take it. That works for me. And that did have vampires. And vampires were the central plot.
There you
I
go.
did put that on my TBR. It's on my KU list now, so at some point.
All right, Heather, what's your fave?
I had one 5-star, and it was the Wild Wolves Reject Mate, which is 5-packs number 5 by Kate C. Wells. This one was kind of like, I mean, they're all a little bit sad, but this one was kind of sad because she has a very traumatic thing happen, and then she has like an anxiety disorder because of it. And her anxiety disorder is what kind of ruins their mating and keeps them apart for 6 years. Like, he was not mean to her or like anything, but they were 18 and he had no idea what was going on. And so it was just kind of like sad. Like, oh, I just kind of want to see you guys be happy, which obviously I did. But it was cool too because a lot of the packs in that series are pretty misogynistic, right? And his pack is completely not. Like, they revere women and, you know, let them kind of be in charge of everything. It's pretty cute.
Love that. Okay, Robin, what was your favorite read of the week?
It was Age of Deception. I mean,
It's Age of Deception.
it was Age
I
of
thought it
If
was
you
gonna
read
be
it, you
Platypus.
know, but
So
I really was expecting Platypussy. I'm sorry. I'm disappointed.
I mean,
I'm really disappointed right now,
I
Robin.
know. I
I'm
know.
devastated. You just ruined my entire night.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was funny.
It was hilarious.
It's hilarious. He has a weird,
There's no plot.
literally no plot, but there's some sort of like weird pokey thing that he has. Like,
Platypus Anatomy 101.
yeah. So, weird venom. Because why not? Platypus venom.
Yeah. So for me, I think book wise, it's kind of hard. I read bangers for all of my books, one of them being Magic Bites. So this group chat cannot disown me anymore. And I loved it.
And now you can get all of our Here Kitty Kitty references.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
All the
And
Here Kitty
Robin
Kitty
still won't,
references.
but it's fine. She'll get there.
One day I'll get there, guys.
One day you'll know.
Well, that can be a future prompt for the readathon.
Exactly. We'll add that to the scavenger hunt, a Here Kitty Kitty reference. We'll just call it Here Kitty Kitty and we'll see what happens.
That'll be perfect.
So book-wise, I would say it's probably that one or Servant to the Spy Day, I think are going to be my top two, which is the fourth book in the Gods and Aspects series by Ruby Dixon. So it's a why choose with 3 gods and 1 human. And she had previously been essentially in the sex trade industry. And so it's very interesting because like the way she thinks about everything is very unique for most of the aspects for the series. So I really appreciated that a whole lot. And then manga wise, I don't think it's recency bias, but I really loved In the Name of the Mermaid Princess, which I've been reading today. And then My Dear Curse Casting Vampiress, I read 2 volumes in that one as well. So I think those would be my manga picks.
I did not give a manga pick. I don't know that I have a manga favorite from this round.
No favorites?
I liked everything I read for the manga.
I know, me too.
That's the problem. I'm like, I don't know. Oshaku Vampire continues to be like adorable.
Yeah.
Very
I need to
weird.
pick that one back up.
But very cute.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that.
All right. So with that, let's move on to the actual group book, Sing Me to Sleep by R.M. Virtues. So we're going to talk non-spoilers first for those of you who haven't had a chance to finish. And
Yes.
then we'll talk spoilers. It is a novella, so there won't be too much in this non-spoiler section. But who feels like giving us a rundown of what the book is about?
Fight. Somebody else has to. I didn't reread it, but I think I remember all of it.
I mean, I can. I just feel like I'll talk too much.
I
Steph,
didn't
you want
read
to?
that either.
Well, I'll try. You can interrupt me if I start getting spoilery because that's a thing that
I
happens.
know.
So it's about a woman who has experienced a home invasion, and so she is living with quite a bit of PTSD and anxiety from that event. And when she finally starts to fall asleep, because she's kind of afraid to do that, she's not sleeping well, she starts getting visited by a sleep paralysis demon. And there's also a side plot that has to do with the demon's world and a war that's happening, which is kind of a setup for a series that hasn't eventuated yet.
But we're
So I
all
tend to-
hoping soon.
We're all hoping. I tend to ignore that little part of it until I get the next book in the series because
Yeah.
that's the lead up to it. But I think that's the basic rundown of it.
All right. So, overall thoughts and feelings about the book.
I have a deep appreciation for how the book handles the trauma and what like she goes through to to keep it non-spoilery, I guess, because I'm like, I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, like I feel like
What
the
happens
handling of-
in the home invasion is all there in the first chapter. So
yeah, I was
that's
like, that's the
like-
beginning part. But I feel like the through line of it and how it affects our heroine is like really engaging and enjoyable in a way that like you don't expect for that setup by any means, nor do you like, I don't know, I always get nervous when things deal with something like that traumatic in a book. I trust R.M. Virtues to handle it, but you also just, you know, it's one of those things that can go sideways really, really quickly.
Mhm.
So
I
I
agree.
definitely have a deep appreciation for how all that went.
Yeah, I think it's handled well, and I also like that the main character has quite a lot of support around her,
Mhm. Yes.
and that people acknowledge that, you know, that's what she's living with, and they're trying to help her, and they're trying to work within her boundaries of what
Mhm.
she's willing to accept as well. She lives with her sister. Her sister's kind of in and out of the story, but
And I do think that's something that I greatly appreciated about this
Mhm.
particular book is that the people in her life like respected that something super traumatic happened to her, and they kind of let her try to grieve on her own. But when that didn't quite work and it was affecting her health physically, that's when they're like, okay, here are all of these options for you. How can we help you? Rather than just trying to like force their own agenda on her. They all gave
Mhm.
her options. Her therapist gave her options. I really loved how all of that was handled, like deeply and greatly. And there's a more medically accepted option for her, as well as a less medically accepted option.
Mhm.
And how she comes about deciding between the two, I thought was well approached, I guess you could say, where some people have very specific thoughts about all of that. I liked that it came through trial and error and very organically. Like that was just a really nice discussion to see. I wouldn't expect any less from R.M. Virtues, but
yeah.
it's still nice to see.
Mhm. Yeah.
Also the description, I mean, before we actually meet the demon character, like the description of sleep paralysis is disturbingly accurate.
Yeah. Yes.
It's very accurate.
That's also true.
Being someone who occasionally does experience sleep paralysis, it is legitimately the truth.
Yeah. It's kind of freaky how accurate it was.
Mm-hmm.
Much lighter experience than people would probably assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised how much I enjoyed this one. I've been putting off this book for a very long time because I am not a horror, scare yourself, freaked out girly. I've never been that person. And so I was just deathly afraid that this book was going to be too much for me. I am happy to report back that it was not. Yes, the beginning of the book is intense. And if you go in knowing that, it ends up being okay.
Yeah.
But again, this is also a very sexually explicit book, which I know will turn off some people. To me, it definitely didn't. Give me all of it. Like, I'm here for it. But yeah, I think as long as you know it's going to be intense for the first 30 to 50 pages and it kind of levels out after that, then you go in with proper expectations.
Yeah, I think I was talking to Heather or just after I finished reading it. I completely forgot that consensual non-consent was a huge part of the book. Like I remembered it, but I didn't remember.
And honestly, with all of that, it's very clear that consent is really, truly, and enthusiastically being given, but it's agreed upon that it's a game. And that's why it's consensual non-consent. And I know, again, that's a trope that's not for everybody, but the way it was approached in this one really just worked for me because there's a lot of non-consent that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's not clear that that's what it is. But I think that's what doesn't work in other books, whereas this was very clear.
Yeah, some books I feel like try to get away with labeling it as consent, non-consent in dark romances when it's really just non-con, which is fine in a book if you tell people appropriately that it's non-con. Yeah. But yeah, I really do appreciate how he handles that because I love a good consent, non-consent situation. Sometimes I enjoy non-con, but it can be really bad when it's not done well, I guess, or in a way that like is properly warned.
Mhm.
And
And Armed Virtues is great. They have a really great trigger warning page right at the beginning of the book
Yeah.
with a lot of the tropes that people will struggle with, as well as actual triggers. So always check your trigger warning page. If you're reading it on a Kindle, I believe it opens right on the trigger warning page. That's what I remember from my opening of it. So I don't think Kindle lets you skip that. I believe that's your starting page. So
I think
When
right, Cynthia? This is something that was great, but we'll talk about that more in the spoilery portion of the book.
When I read it because it was consensual non-consent and a demon, and because it was Armed Virtues that wrote it. But like that was my entire
Okay, Jessica confirmed
understanding
it
of
as
the book
well.
when I read it. So
Mhm.
all of the heavier stuff and darker stuff and all of the world building kind of took me by surprise because I was just there for a steamy demon good time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But all of it was done so well. And I think you move through some of the rougher parts quickly enough that it wasn't like, oh, well, this wasn't what I signed up for.
Right.
100%
It
agreed.
was so good.
So
pacing is
overall, we
on
all
point.
seemed to enjoy this read. I know Robin also enjoyed it.
Yeah, we read it before, and I
'Cause I
think
think
we gave it 5
Pretty much
stars.
everybody had read it before except me. I think I was the only first read.
That's why we were like, yeah, this is the book. We must make you read this.
This round of Love in the Night brought to you by my group chat friends that are trying to make me read all their favorites.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Well, I also like really despise having a group book that nobody's read and then it's not good.
Right.
Nobody
No,
liked
same.
it. It wasn't good. It sounded good. It wasn't any good. And now we've got all of us reading it for what? Nothing
Right.
to complain during a live show. So
Yeah,
I really
exactly.
like having somebody having read the group book, whether it's me or not.
Agreed.
and I think when it comes to paranormal romance as well, it can be so hit and miss. You
Yeah.
really do need someone who's at least gotten partway through a book. Gone. Yeah, it's
Agreed.
probably-
So at this point, we are going to move into the spoilery discussion for this book because there is a lot to discuss, but they are spoilers. So with that said, if you have not finished the book, please go finish it. Come back after you're done and watch this part because I firmly believe this is a book everybody should try and finish and enjoy. So anyways, with that said, from this point out, you're going to get spoiled. If you don't want to be spoiled, we love you. See you later. Okay. I'm just going to rage if I start. So somebody else go first.
I was going to say, Shay's ready to start raging about a particular character.
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
I figured. I was like, it's coming.
It's coming. Yeah.
Just because
Um,
he's awful.
He is awful. But how good is Armed Virtues at making a awful character?
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I mean, I feel like so
Like-
often you get a villain character that's like they're awful, don't get me wrong, but like they're like cartoonily bad. This was like realistically terrible human. And I respect that ability a lot.
Well, and the thing is, like,
dirty, rotten bastard. Period
the
of the
first-
story.
the first time he's on page, you feel uncomfortable with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
From the
because he's
very
already
You don't know
like,
why.
kind of getting pushy.
don't know
with
why.
her. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
sir.
And,
Yeah,
and,
he's
he's,
just a bad
and he's
friend.
recognizable, which is the disturbing part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
So recognizable.
Yes. So for anyone who
It's the worst.
Yeah.
But I also will say, I feel like if you read the what is that series called? His Greek God series.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
can't think of the
anything-
series name.
The first books drag me up.
Yeah, Dragon Dance first book. I feel like if you liked this, you will like that series
Mm.
for sure.
Yeah.
Nah. I
You
just
don't think so?
nah.
I think Shay will.
I think lots of people do, but I don't think it's any sort of guarantee.
I mean, it's not like a promise, but I think it's worth like giving the series a shot, at least if you enjoyed this one. because like Drag Me Up is
The
delightful.
series sounds appealing to you, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, like, if you were worried about writing, like writing style and stuff, I feel like you see a lot of the same. Like his
Mhm.
writing translates across
Yeah.
the series.
I think this
so.
is a good starting point if you haven't read his writing.
Agreed. I think this is a better starting point than
smaller.
Drag Me Up.
I think it depends a lot on whether or not you're into this type of kink or have ever read this type of kink, because I don't know. People really don't like it if they have no idea what's
I don't know. I guess for me, this is the easier rec than Drag Me Up in that series.
For sure. For me too. This is the one that I've enjoyed the most of the ones of his I've read. So it's always the one, that I recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is what trauma does to you, being someone who has experienced trauma and had holes in my memory at certain points.
Mhm.
That has slowly come back to me over time. But this is literally what trauma does to you. You just block out parts of it.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's just, yeah. The
the
trauma
theme of-
rep here was honestly like exactly what I would expect. Like it was very real. And there's just so much about all of it, despite the fact that she's banging a demon in her sleep, is very, very real. Like,
yeah.
But
What a great
I
way to
was
heal
not
from
mad that she was banging a demon in her sleep, clearly.
I mean, I just think what a great way to heal from it, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, I loved him. Like,
Yeah.
He was
Well, I think the
absolutely fantastic, so gaga for her, and was willing to play every dirty, filthy game she wanted to play. Like,
I think like the mythology that we get around the demons and how they exist and sort of the world that they exist in. Like I wish we had more of that, but I think it's a good it's a good setup for more.
yeah.
Because just their structure and the way that they work as a group, and also what his job is as a sleep paralysis demon was just interesting.
It is. I really am dying for more in this world.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I mean, I know it's not coming anytime soon.
I mean, if you ask me, I don't think it's coming at all, but
I mean, yeah.
We also don't know.
I'm just saying, like, I know my brain has already determined that I'm not getting more, but I want more. It doesn't mean I don't want it.
Yeah.
So
the world building in this is absolutely stunning. Like, they did not have to go that hard or that far for world building, but they did, and I greatly appreciated it.
Yeah, it's a lot of world building for a novella.
Exactly. I was like, this is 168 pages, and they gave us so much in such a short page count. It's insane.
Yeah. It's surprising. You know, I mean, I'm assuming we're not getting more because
yes, I love this.
Yeah,
timeline.
I love
but
it
yeah,
so much. But yeah, again, I really liked all of their sexual interactions. They were plentiful. They were, despite being consensual, non-consent, everything was very enthusiastic on both sides. And I love that we got both perspectives on that. And it was fantastic. Like, sometimes when those situations happen, you feel like one of them's not as into it as the other. And I really like that they were both enthusiastically like, okay, this is my person. They're into my kinks. They're into my things. Let's go. And that's much more how I like those situations.
Same.
If you like this dynamic and you haven't watched Has Been Hotel, you definitely should, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
What do you like? If you like the heaven and hell dynamics of this, like, you would really like Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss as well. Like, it's so good. I really like what's going on in those shows as well. It's a very similar mindset, so it's really good. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is I actually really liked what was happening in the like political structure of the heaven and hell situation. I really liked that, which is why I would, if RM Virtues ever decides to come back to this, believe me, I'm all here for it. But I don't know if they will. It has been years now, so we don't know. But if they ever do, I would be very excited and very happy.
I mean, the other thing that this does is it, because there is nothing that follows it, it exists for its potential as well,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
which is a
Yeah.
problem that some books have, is when they do something, then they ruin it.
This is also
True.
true.
True. I mean, at this point, like, I'm not gonna be mad, obviously, if we don't get more,
Yeah.
but I'll be thrilled if we do.
Mhm. But yeah,
Robin's
I will die on the hill that Shane is a dirty, rotten bastard and I hate him. And I love RM Virtues for writing a hero that is easy to hate.
Mhm.
Because, like, just the entitledness of him, I think, was my biggest beef and my biggest gripe. It's like,
Fair.
Well, when he admits why he did it, you're just like,
it's like, that is the dumbest reason ever.
that is such a white man response to a situation.
Oh my gosh, right? It's like, how
Mhm.
privileged white man are you? But yeah, it made him very easy to hate. Because he just gave off dude bro energy so hard.
Mhm.
Life isn't going how I expected it to. Daddy cut me off. Blah, blah, blah. Shoot me dead.
Maybe consider why you got cut off first.
Right?
Maybe get a
That
job.
would make too much sense.
Yeah. Anyways, Robin, we're into the spoiler thoughts. Share your spoilers.
I haven't read it in years, so
Oh, there you go.
I
Share what you
remember. I remember like all of the big plot points, but
Mhm.
the details I'm sure have
Mhm.
faded. But I just remember really liking the like world, like the demon angel world,
Mhm.
and wanting more
Mhm.
from it. Like, yeah, like her like trauma part and like all of that was really well done, but I just really liked the
Yeah.
paranormal world that they had
Yeah,
built.
yeah.
Like, I thought that there was a lot there that could have been more, but
Yeah.
like,
Again, if
I
they
don't know,
ever
it's
come
weird,
back, we
yeah.
won't be sad or mad about it, but we don't expect
Exactly.
them to at this point.
It's 160 pages. There's only so much you get in 160 pages.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't remember if it was you or Izzy that said it, but like sometimes they do come, like authors will come back and it's just not the same. Like it just ruins that like potential that was there.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why, like, with other authors, when they're like, these characters aren't speaking to me, I don't know if I'll ever come back. I'm always sad when it's a series I'm invested in, but like, I would rather have them enthusiastically wanting to write it rather than just phoning it in to write it.
yeah, absolutely.
Because that's how I feel about like Katie Robert and her Sabine Valley series. I love that series, but those characters aren't speaking to Katie. So
Yeah.
anyway, I've talked about this other places, but anyways, so yeah, with this book, I'm just really glad it was a love. I was afraid it was going to be a DNF at 50% situation, but it wasn't for me. So yay.
Good.
We don't often steer you wrong, Shay.
Yeah.
No, it's true. You guys really don't. But I can't read every book y'all read. I don't have the time.
Well, we're very
But I don't think
selective.
we
in
all would
what-
have picked a book we previously read
This
and
is
thought
true.
like
Yeah.
DNF or hate, you know?
Well, and that's why it's like, I know y'all have read this, but I know I haven't. So I'm like, with the comfort of friends, maybe I can get through it. And yeah, it took me a minute to get through the first.
Yeah.
The beginning
Chunk
is
of it.
definitely the roughest.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah,
because
those first
of
couple
the-
of chapters definitely took me the longest to read. The rest of it went pretty quickly.
We didn't talk about it, but I do like how Shane met his end. That was very
Oh.
fitting.
That was so satisfying. In my head, I'm like, yes.
I do always like when the characters you hate get what they deserve.
Mm.
Mhm.
One thing I
It
do
was the
love that we
best
haven't
feeling.
touched on is I love that he offers to take away the memories for her, but she's like, no, I've worked through this. You know, this is mine. I've owned it. Like, don't take it away from me now. It'll change who I am, essentially. And I really loved, one, that the conversation even came up, and two, that he completely respected it and said, okay, let's go.
Mhm.
It
So,
doesn't
yes.
doesn't diminish her experiences, which is
No.
what Shane was really doing.
Ugh,
Exactly.
stupid Shane.
The literal worst.
The literal worst. We hate Shane. Every man named Shane must now pay for the sins of this Shane. Granted, I don't think I've ever met a Shane that's been nice. So I think that's why this works for me. That I
I
can
have
see
no
both ways.
opinions on the name, so I don't know.
I have an ex named Shane.
There we go.
There we go.
I went to high school with a guy named Shane. We were both Portuguese, so we bonded over that. That was about it. That's all I got.
One mediocre Shane has been represented.
Yeah.
Yep. The rest shall suffer.
Yep.
Mhm.
I feel like Shane used to be a very common name over here.
I feel like it's a very millennial name.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. I would
The
say
way
that.
that Declan is like the next Gen Zs. I feel like
Mm.
every millennial has a son named Declan.
I can see it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
But no, I just appreciated that Shane met a grisly end. And
Mhm.
yes.
We're not at all bloodthirsty.
No.
Nope.
Oh, who am I kidding? Yes, I am. Give me death when you're that horrible of a human. Like, seriously, you do not deserve to live. Well, that's like in I read Fire in His Chaos, which is like book 8 in the Fire Dragon series by Ruby
Yeah.
Dixon, where they all lose their minds. Literally, like, our heroine's about to get raped by one of these soldiers, and the dragon literally comes up and just like slaughters him and like drops him on the doorstep of where she lives, saying, "This is what I did for you." And like, it was just great. I was like, yes, you deserve this for being an awful human.
Team.
There is
Bag of heads.
literally
Team bag
nothing
heads.
worse than the main characters or love interest being like, well, if I kill them, I'll be just as bad of a person as they are. Like,
Give me
Give me the
delivering
morality
heads.
chain, baby.
Bag
Give it
of
to
heads.
me.
Always.
Delivering
me.
heads. I want it.
cannot roll my eyes hard enough.
So
And
there
then
was
they
the,
always come back and try and kill them again. Like, what do you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Right?
Blood of my
Mhm.
enemies, give me a vat of it, please and thank you. Like,
that was probably the most satisfying thing. I think I talked in one of the reading sprints that I was on. There was a book that I was reading that was really uncomfortable. I wasn't sure if I was going to get through it because the character goes through a whole stack of trauma at the hands of someone that she knows, but she loses time and she doesn't realize what's happening for most of the book. So it's really uncomfortable. But he got a very, very strong punishment at the end. I'm like,
we love it.
Nice, satisfying.
worth it. There's nothing more disappointing than when that does not happen, though.
Right.
Oh,
Alrighty, so any other final non-spoilery feelings and thoughts about Sing Me to Sleep?
no. I think it was so fun.
if you haven't tried it, just
If
give
you
it a
haven't
shot.
tried it, definitely do, because I am a scaredy cat baby and I did just fine. So that probably means you can handle it.
Yeah,
Me
it's
too.
definitely not
Me too.
Especially
Again,
if you
just
wanna-
know the first little bit's going to be intense. Once you're past
but
that,
it's well done.
smooth sailing.
Yeah.
But it's intense, but it's well done, and the representation in it's good.
Oh, absolutely and completely. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the live. We've all kind of talked about our reads and how the readathon went. So
Can I ask a question before we wrap up?
of course.
Is there something that you were hoping to get to but you didn't get a chance to read? Robert
My,
Hart.
whole- my whole TBR.
More Kate Daniels.
More
The
Kate
whole
Daniels.
TBR.
So yes,
I'm
more Kate
finishing it
Daniels will be
tonight.
happening. Don't worry.
Portal to Pleasure. This will be my last read for the readathon because I added a day.
Yay.
I added last Sunday, and this Sunday counts too, since we all gave different date ranges.
Yeah,
So,
right. Whoops.
I
hopefully
read
getting
all
my
most of
last
Chris
one.
Hill, but I've got everything. Like I have one volume of manga left that I picked out to read, and I'm just gonna finish that.
So yeah, I'm probably gonna get to that. I mean, On the Run with the Vampire, I really wanted to read, and I didn't get to that because I kind of pivoted to Shifters. But I think
Yeah,
I'll
I
just read that
purposely didn't
this
pick a
fall.
TBR for this round because I'm like, I'm just gonna mood read whatever paranormal feels good. The only thing on my TBR for the readathon was the group book.
I mean, I had a TBR, but I still just read Werewolves.
I
off
had
my
a
TBR.
minimal TBR.
But that, I think that Portal to Pleasure is the big one that I have left that I want to read, and like I said, I'm reading it tonight, so it'll be in the blog.
It's
And
fun.
then the
It's a good
vampire
one.
one.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have read On the Run with a Vampire yet, though.
Mm-mm.
I know
Isn't it
Heather-
kind of, I mean, I know which cover it is. Isn't it a little long? I think I was gonna read it.
maybe it's over 250. I know that.
Because I feel like I was gonna read it for something else, and I was like, oh, it's just like a little too
No,
long.
you DNF'd it because of like the anxiety in it or something like
Is that what it was?
You were really stressed out.
Yeah, I was like, I swear.
There
I
was
don't see
something in it
I
that
don't
was
know.
like triggering you, and you decided to stop because
Hmm.
you weren't sure how much of it was in the rest of the book or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll report back when I eventually read it. I read some reviews on it and I was like, it looks really cute, but I don't think it's what I want right now.
Of course, I didn't write it down. Why would
Yeah, I
I?
was like, it's not
Oh,
on
good to
Goodreads
know.
anywhere.
If we scroll back approximately 6 months in our Instagram DMs, we could
This is hard
You'll
for-
find it. Heather has a timeline for you at least.
I mean, it was Last Love of the Night.
Yeah, I know. I'm teasing. It's just funny.
Glad you remember.
I had it on my TBR too, and I never
Yeah.
got to it. And I
Yeah.
just
I had it
had
on my TBR Last Love in the Night also. So if I don't read it by the next one, I think it comes off the KU wish list.
I forgot that I got approved for Jessica Gaziella's vampire book, and I was supposed
Did
to
you?
read it. I got it. I got the approval, but I was going to read it. I just forgot that I had it.
I didn't get to it either, but
What is it? It's
doesn't come out till
my big
August.
fat vampire wedding. There you go. Izzy, there's vampires.
I
Oh,
will wait to see how it is because I am iffy on Heather's fave. I don't know if I've read a book of her I liked yet.
I found it.
Oh, did you?
There is chronic illness rep, and it opens up with she was 8 years old the first time her heart stopped,
Oh yeah.
and I was pregnant at the time, and I was like, I can't do that. My
Yeah.
hormones are like, we're
That's
not.
Everyone's like,
we're
no
not
way.
8-year-old.
No, thank
I'll
you.
let you know when I read it if that really remains because from the first chapter, like past the prologue, I don't feel like it was a
Yeah.
huge conversation again.
Yeah. I just remember
Um,
being like, oh yeah, I can't think about a child's heart stopping right now. I can't do that.
Fair. Complete.
That's fair.
Hmm.
When I started it, I was like, oh, that's a heavy prologue.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, let me know if
Yeah.
it's because I had asked Heather, I was like, did you read it? Because I need to know if this is prevalent. And then which is probably why I didn't mark it as a DNF. I was just like, I'll wait.
might circle back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, friends, and everybody in the chat. We will wrap things here. Thanks so much to everybody who participated in our spring round of Love in the Night. If you liked having a spring round, definitely let us know. We will be back in the fall with another round as per usual, because that's when we're all feeling paranormal. And yes. So and there's usually new paranormals to read around that time of year too. So we always have a good time.
Yeah.
So with that said, we'll send y'all off and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.